Hello everyone, and welcome to this little tent we're staying in at the moment. Today I found a little story that I want to read, and I was thinking that maybe we could all sit here and cozy up, get nice and warm, nice and comfy, hot drink, maybe a tea or a hot chocolate, and let's read this little creepy story. Today we're going to be reading Rumpelstiltskin from the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. This is a classic, a lot of people know it, but it's still good, and it's still kind of creepy, you know. It's a good one to relax and listen to the rain and just be all cozy and creepy. So as always, sit back, relax, get nice and warm and comfy, adjust your volume. It's going to be around this level the whole time. And yeah, let's get into it. By the side of a wood, in a country a long way off, ran a fine stream of water, and upon the stream there stood a mill. The miller's house was close by, and the miller, you must know, had a very beautiful daughter. She was, moreover, very shrewd and clever, and the miller was so proud of her that he one day told the king of the land, who used to come and hunt in the wood, that his daughter could spin gold out of straw. Now this king was very fond of money, and when he heard the miller's boast, his greediness was raised, and he sent for the girl to be brought before him. Then he led her to a chamber in his palace, where there was a great heap of straw, and gave her a spinning wheel, and said, "All this must be spun into gold before the morning, as you love your life." It was in vain that the poor maiden said it was only a silly boast of her father, but that she could do no such thing as spin straw into gold. The chamber door was locked, and she was left alone. She sat down in one corner of the room, and began to bewail her hard fate, when on a sudden the door opened, and a droll-looking little man hobbled in, and said, "Good morrow to you, my good lass. What are you weeping for?" "Alas," said she, "I must spin this straw into gold, and I know not how." "What will you give me," said the hobgoblin, "to do it for you?" "My necklace," replied the maiden. He took her at her word, and sat himself down to the wheel, and whistled and sang, round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold. And round about the wheel went merrily. The work was quickly done, and the straw was all spun into gold. When the king came and saw this, he was greatly astonished and pleased, but his heart grew still more greedy of gain. And he shut up the poor miller's daughter again with a fresh task. Then she knew not what to do, and sat down once more to weep. But the dwarf soon opened the door and said, "What will you give me to do your task?" "The ring on my finger," said she. So her little friend took the ring, and began to work the wheel again, and whistled and sang, round about, lo and behold, reel away, straw into gold. Till long before morning, all was done again. The king was greatly delighted to see all this glittering treasure, but still he had not enough, so he took the miller's daughter to yet a larger heap, and said, "All this must be spun tonight, and if it is, you shall be my queen." As soon as she was alone, that dwarf came in and said, "What will you give me to spin gold for you this third time?" "I had nothing left," said she. "Then say you will give me," said the little man, "the first little child that you may have when you are queen." "That may never be," thought the miller's daughter, and as she knew no other way to get her task done, she said she would do what he asked. Round went the wheel again to the old song, and the mannikin once more spun the heap into gold. The king came in the morning, and, finding all he wanted, was forced to keep his word, so he married the miller's daughter, and she really became queen. At the birth of her first child she was very glad, and forgot the dwarf, and what she had said. But one day he came into her room, where she was sitting playing with her baby, and put her in mind of it. Then she grieved sorely at her misfortune, and said she would give him all the wealth in the kingdom, if he would let her off. but in vain, till at last her tears softened him, and he said, I will give you 3 days' grace, and if during that time you tell me my name, you shall keep your child. Now the queen lay awake all night, thinking of all the odd names that she had never heard, and she sent messages all over the land to find out new ones. The next day the little man came, and she began with Timothy, Ichabod, Benjamin, Jeremiah, and all the names she could remember. But to all and each of them he said, Madam, that is not my name. The second day she began with all the comical names she could hear of, Bandy-legs, Hunchback, Crookshanks, and so on. The little gentleman still said to every one of them, Madam, that is not my name. The third day, one of the messengers came back and said, I have travelled 2 days without hearing of any other names, but yesterday I was climbing a high hill, among the trees and the forest, where the fox and the hare bid each other good night. I saw a little hut, and before the hut burnt a fire, and round about the fire a funny little dwarf was dancing upon one leg, and singing, Merrily the feast I'll make, today I'll brew, tomorrow bake, merrily I'll dance and sing, for next day will a stranger bring, little does my lady dream, Rumpelstiltskin is my name. When the queen heard this, she jumped for joy, and as soon as her little friend came, she sat down upon her throne, and called all her court round to enjoy the fun, and the nurse stood by her side with the baby in her arms, as if it was quite ready to be given up. Then the little man began to chuckle at the thought of having the poor child to take home with him to his hut in the woods, and he cried out, Now, lady, what is my name? Is it not John? Asked she. No, madam. Is it Tom? No, madam. Is it Jemmy? It is not. Can your name be Rumpelstiltskin? Said the lady shyly. Some witch told you that. Some witch told you that, cried the little man, and dashed his right foot in a rage so deep into the floor that he was forced to lay hold of it with both hands to pull it out. Then he made the best of his way off, while the nurse laughed and the baby crowed, and all the court jeered at him for having had so much trouble for nothing, and said, We wish you a very good morning, and a merry feast, Mr. Rumpelstiltskin. And with that, the story fades away, and we're back in our little tent. That's a really good one. I really enjoy that story. It's such a classic, you know, we've all heard the Rumpelstiltskin story here and there, but I don't think I've ever sat down and actually read it from start to finish. So thank you for coming and joining this with me. Hope you enjoyed, and hope you enjoy the next one that we read. Maybe we'll find a little story. Maybe we'll read another Brothers Grimm fairy tale. Who knows? I hope you had a good time. I hope you're nice and relaxed and adequately comfy. I'm going to sit back with my hot chocolate and enjoy the rain a little bit longer. You're more than welcome to join me. Sometimes I imagine the rain as thoughts just passing by, you know? And I think to myself, I'm always having so many thoughts going through my head, and sometimes that you can just let them pass by, you know? Sometimes you can just sit in your tent and let all the thoughts pass by and just relax and watch them pass. Sometimes reading a little story and sitting down, really taking time to just allow the thoughts to happen and the rain to pass. I found it offers me a lot of, I don't know, comfort, relaxation. I'm not really too sure, but it feels nice. So I'm gonna keep doing it. Thank you for sitting with me and enjoying the rain and enjoying the story. Hope you're cozy or relaxed or whatever it is that you're doing today. Thank you for sitting with me. And I hope you have a good day or a good sleep or whatever it is that you're doing next. Goodbye.